Hi everyone, Comic Book Reviewer here, and this time reviewing on Ultimate Comic Spider-Man Volume 1. Now, I picked this up 1 or 2 years ago from a shop called Bargain Book Time. I got £4 for it, and this is like the after effects of the Ultimatum. How Peter Parker is now in a whole new different card game, and has new challenges to face. Now, pretty much the other volumes you get are Ultimate Iron Man, Ultimate Avengers, and so on. Now, let's get on the story. It starts off how Peter Parker now has a job working at a fast food joint due to the Daily Bugle suffering major damages during the flood, and is now working for a place called Burger Frog. After this old lady asks what kind of fries, she gets into a hiff about it, and Peter's boss ends up having to calm her down by giving her a free drink and a pie. And Peter's boss berates him and reminds him that not to screw up again. And Peter's only response is, "Can I help you?" You can tell that he doesn't want this job, but again, it's the only thing he can probably get. Now, pretty much after the Ultimatum, people have slowly started to rebuild their lives. And people have got a day or week off school, where MJ's talking it onto a school blog. Now, pretty much later on in the midnight, when some people rob a convenience store, no doubt they'll probably get DNA prints and crap all over everywhere, and even threatening a guy, where Spider-Man shows up. No, it's not Spider-Man, it's actually Shroud. So they try shooting him or her, and pretty much they try knocking him down also, and pretty much she ends up leaving, where the owner is pretty amazed. And Peter Parker shows up, but instead the cops actually praise Spider-Man due to the fact that he helped save the people during the Ultimatum. Now, pretty much, now that Peter Parker's back to his full-time hero, he's also got the Gwen Stacy clone as his girlfriend now, even though this isn't actually Gwen Stacy. Now, pretty much this has Aunt May saying, "Gwen, is Peter home?" So pretty much Peter gets changed, and they pretty much talk about what's going to happen now. And so Johnny Storm shows up unexpectedly, and pretty much just faints from exhaustion or so. Meanwhile, later in the night, two of the Kingpin's officers are talking about how he's able to get out due to the fact that he tried to murder someone, and they explain that due to the flood and the Ultimatum, he was allowed to get out, no problems whatsoever. And Kingpin is pretty much saying, "Give me the room." So, while looking out to think what he should do now, Kingpin is taken out and ends up flinging right into a car, no doubt crushing the people inside. And this is due to Ultimate Mysterio, who doesn't wear a fishbowl for a head or anything. Now, pretty much, Aunt May is now known that this is Johnny Storm, and Peter fills in everything about him. Meanwhile, Mysterio's looking at the details for Kingpin's murder, and pretty much is planning his next big thing. Meanwhile, Peter is having nightmares about the Ultimatum, and where he sees all of the people who suffered from it hanging. Even though Wasp died, so did Doctor Strange, and others did survive, but that's the effects of war. And you can tell Peter is deeply traumatized from this. He knows deep down that this was something that he never wanted to see in his young life. So meanwhile at school, Kitty Pryde is still allowed to go to school, but she's not allowed to use her powers. Even Flash and the others even throw food at her just to make it seem like for fun. But Kenny Khan is the only guy who defends her, and he says that this isn't Kitty Pryde's fault for the flood, and that he's being racist and that he's an idiot. Meanwhile, the school principal shows up, and pretty much he talks with Kitty Pryde, and he explains that they were throwing food at her, and that she had to use her powers because it was getting annoying. And pretty much you can tell MJ is a bit scared of Kitty Pryde herself. And pretty much leaves off in a huff. Even destroys MJ's camera, which probably cost her a bundle. So meanwhile, Peter and Gwen are having outdoor lunch. And they're talking and such. And he realises something is going on and has to get into action. He sees rows of people running and pretty much realises it's Bombshell and her daughter. Now, her daughter will play a key part in the Ultimate Universe. After getting blasted down, Spider-Man has to use his skills quickly and takes down one of the Bombshells and pretty much finds out a weakness, but quickly gets blasted away and ends up with Peter webbing them down and takes down Bombshell's mother. And also, pretty much they pretty much arrest the two. And no doubt Spider-Man is going to be traumatized from that as well. So Johnny Storm wakes up. I don't know how long it takes someone to fall asleep on the sofa. So pretty much Aunt May offers him some tea and stuff. And in the next one, you have MJ and her school news team talking about this whole Mysterio thing and what's been going on. So meanwhile, Johnny Storm talks about the flood and what happened at the Baxter building when he saw his dad. And seeing that his dad died had traumatized him and that he can't go back to the Baxter building. Too many bad memories. So he says, like, where's Peter exactly? And knowing Peter, he's mainly at his job at Burger Frog, where his boss has a go at him again, and he pretty much says to Peter, there are tons of kids who would need this job, so don't screw up. And after Peter ends up spilling coke on MJ, that him and MJ aren't on exactly friendly terms. Now, this is what happens when a breakup. Sometimes in a breakup, you can't exactly stay friends. Sometimes you might have things with this other person, and sometimes you don't. But meanwhile, giant spiders attack New York. And I actually like how this young lady says, Why? Why is it always New York? Why? So, Peter realises something's going on, and they think he's a giant mutant spider. Peter Parker gets into action and webs down the spider monsters. And Mysterio is planning to rob a gold vault full of gold. And Peter takes down Ultimate Mysterio, where he ends up disappearing into a fog of bright light. And the police show up, where Peter explains what's been going on. And meanwhile, when Gwen's heading back home, she notices Johnny Storm's talking to her sister Sue. And they're discussing about why he wants to leave, why he wants to go. And meanwhile, Spider-Man is now declared a full hero by the press, and Mysterio is not as happy with the turnouts. So pretty much, when Peter heads and sees Susan Storm, she pretty much asks him to look after Johnny for him, and that he looks up to Peter. So pretty much, at the end, Johnny Storm is now part of the Parker family. Now, I have to end it there, so Comic Review here, signing out.